So when we're dealing with energies in general, it's always a good idea that if you did have both, we'd look at using the neutralizing ring first. We kind of want to neutralize that field because we don't know what energies have been colliding, we don't know the effects of them, and we don't know whatever. So it's always a good idea to do some passes with the neutralizing ring first. So on a personal level, the easiest thing to do is to put your hands over top of the energy ring like this. And that is one of the easiest ways to start with it. So let's do a little bit of a game. And if any of you have your rings, I highly recommend let's bring them out. So if we have the neutralizing ring, let's just take a quick inventory of how we're feeling. So just kind of notice how we're feeling. And if we were to take an inventory of our stress or our thought patterns, and if we've been positive with ourselves today, or if we've punished ourselves a little bit today, and see on a scale of 10, 10 being I feel like I am just over the moon and just everything is amazing, and 0 being I would rather crawl in a space and not see anyone. So let's give us that number. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put our hands together and notice the type of energy that happens. If anything changes, if we feel warmth, if we just feel our skin, nothing changes. Sometimes when you engage in energy, because this is a good way as well to also help ourselves create a network. But this really helps us to create a network to see what's going on. A lot of the times I'll feel a little wave go through my stomach, certain things like that. So we're just gonna take a little inventory, and then what I want you to do is grab your neutralizing ring, and I want you to put it in between your hands. Now I want you to immediately think about your number and whether or not it has changed. So Jen, would you be able to tell us whether or not your number from first taking a look at it to placing the neutralizing ring in between your hands, whether or not that number has changed at all?
Yes.
Okay. And would you say it's a couple of points?
Like 4.
Okay, so that's actually quite significant. That's pretty cool. So what we're going to do now is a little bit of an exercise in order to help us get a little bit deeper. So one thing that I do with my clients or myself is I go to imagine myself as if I were a part of the entire universe and the universe was just energy. So I am out there colliding, I'm sliding, reminds me of a Miss Congeniality movie, and I'm just gliding here. And so take yourself in that space and see where you are. And something that happens to us as we go through life is we start to see ourselves separate from everybody else. We start to see ourselves as, you know, as I'm gliding through this, I actually see my entity. I see myself, and I'm not a part of anything else. I'm not a part of the, you know, infrastructure, like the Matrix. You know, you watch the Matrix and everything just kind of goes through and nobody can see themselves. So we're gonna picture ourselves, and most of the time when I do this, I see myself as separate. So what we're gonna do is we're now gonna hold the neutralizing ring again between our hands. And we're going to go back to that space. And we're going to set the intention now with the neutralizing ring that we are going to neutralize anything that would make us think, feel, or believe that we are separate from the existence of all energy. And we are going to neutralize anything that makes us feel separate from that which we came from. And those are just some easy things that we can do, is to neutralize anything that would make us feel, think, act, or believe that we are separate from the field. And just give yourself 5 seconds. And then put your neutralizing ring down. And did that change anything for you at all as far as your points are concerned? If you were to go in and evaluate.
Maybe 1 or 2.
Okay, so even just using the neutralizing ring on itself, you felt 4 points.
Yeah.
And then doing a little exercise, you felt another point or 2. Great. So when we use the neutralizing ring, we don't necessarily have to do anything because it is connected the way that it is. But if we give it a little bit of intention, then we can use that. So we can say things like, I want to neutralize whatever is creating this anxiety inside of me. I want to neutralize whatever energies are telling me that I can't sleep. I want to neutralize, or I intend to neutralize whatever type of energy it is. And we are essentially trying to neutralize any organic information that has gone into the inorganic, which means our body can't deal with it appropriately. So we can neutralize essentially anything. We can use this neutralizing ring even over top of our groceries. And it would be simply just going over 3 to 4 passes on all sides of our grocery bags to be able to neutralize any of the inorganic materials, pesticides, or any types of materials that they've used, any energies that the person that picked it, or any energy that came along the ride with it. We can use it to neutralize the energy. We can also use this neutralizing ring. If you wanted to do a test, you can actually put your water in here and leave it for 5 minutes, and then test it from your filtered water and test the taste between this and the energy ring water. And it should feel a lot more fresh, a lot more clean, a lot more tasty. So we can do that with anything. When I was at work, I would put my tea in here, or I'd put my bowl of food, or, really you can put anything in here. You can also put your gemstones in here if they've been filled up with energy. So you can use them to bring them back to their 0 point energy, but you would then need to move into the sun ring. So that's a little bit about the neutralizing ring. Do you have any questions?
When you put your food or your stones into the ring, do you have to set in any sort of intention for the ring at that point, or you just simply can put?
You can simply just put them on there. Yeah, absolutely. It will do all the work, whether or not you want to say, hey, clean these off for me, or okay, your nightly cleaning, or whatever the case may be. It's always a little bit more powerful, but it will work regardless.
And for stones, would you leave it overnight, or is 5 minutes what you would use?
I would say if you have a 9-inch ring, you're looking at maybe 30 seconds to a minute.
Each stone individually?
You could put them all in.
Okay.
Yeah. You could put them all in, you could put them all in a bag, and then put them in there and leave them for 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how big they were, but not long at all. It doesn't take long.
And does it matter what medium you put the ring on with different things? Like, would you put it on your kitchen counter or your sofa, or doesn't matter what you put
It doesn't
on?
matter what you put it on as well. It doesn't matter if it's upright. It doesn't matter anywhere. It could be on the floor. It could be on your table. It could be anywhere.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay. As for a practitioner, this is the number one tool that I recommend having at the foot of your table or somewhere that you can put your bare foot on. Sometimes I don't necessarily need to do bare feet, but when there is something really going on, I feel myself burning up, whatever, I will just put my foot on there the whole entire time. And again, my intention is that I am just releasing all of this energy from the person, from me. It's not staying in this room. It's not staying in my clinic. It is going to wherever it needs to go. So that is definitely something that I highly recommend to have in your room. I did use the 4-inch ring at the beginning and just found that it wasn't powerful enough. I was still getting some side effects from the energy. And so the 9-inch ring has really saved my energy and being able to work with more people during the day and not going home and feeling completely exhausted. So it's a lifesaver, absolutely.
In your home, is there somewhere that you would put this ring specifically to leave it? Like, is there like or should you just leave it out in your living room, or would you put it in a specific section of your house?
I think that if you had somebody that was energetic and if you asked the ring where it wanted to be placed, I think if you went around your house, if you were inclined, it would stop you where it needed to be. And that can change from moment to moment. It would depend also if you have energy lines that are running through your house, that could be a good indication that you need to put it somewhere. And other than that, it could go at the front door as a cleansing for things that come through. I know that that's been a good thing for some of my clients to have it there, but otherwise it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I've had people put it by their shoe rack so that every time that they come in, they step on it and then they take their shoes off, or somewhere where they come in where they can kind of send their energies of the day through there, and then the house is much more peaceful and calm. So that's different ideas that you can do with that as well. So, okay. Questions? Okay, all right. So I'm going to move into the sun ring then. The sun ring is another name for the sun ring would be the amplifier. So anything that you want to get stronger or work more effectively or be cleaner, you are going to use the sun ring for. So once you've neutralized things, so if we go back to that gemstone idea, after you use the neutralizing ring, you're always going to use the sun ring. So with that being said, the reason why I like to have both is because it's great to use the neutralizing ring, but then if you don't have something to fill that void, you could leave yourself a little bit susceptible to some of those same energies. So when you neutralize things, it neutralizes things down to a 0 point, which means it always leaves a void. And you never want darkness to have fun with a void. You always want to fill it with light, because where there is light, there can't be darkness, right? So that's why you would always follow up the neutralizing ring with the sun ring. Now, the sun ring has so many more applications in terms of being able to amplify other parts of your life. So for this sun ring, you can use it to move energies and pains. So you can, I mean, obviously the 4-inch ring is a lot easier. So if I have somebody who comes into me and says, I've got a chronic shoulder pain, or I've got a chronic headache or something, I can easily put this 4-inch ring on where it is that they're dealing with it. And you're looking about 5 minutes. I've had a client who went home with this and they left it on there for about half an hour and they were nauseous and it hurt a lot more. So these rings are super powerful, so it doesn't mean necessarily that more is better. But you can definitely use it on pains. You can also use it then after you've neutralized your gemstones. You would want to put your gemstones in here as well, and this is where you could leave them overnight. You could leave them indefinitely if you wanted to. If you wanted to continually have that amplified effect of the gemstones, you can place them in here. Lots of times when I'm working with essential oils or other types of products, I will first put them in here, pure and true, and then I will use them. So it just means that it amplifies the energy that you're using to work with whatever it is you're working with.
Mm-hmm.
So after you've neutralized certain things, then you can also, this one's a little bit trickier as far as the 9-inch, so I always just kind of hold it at the top. And so what you want to do then is when you feel this energy, we want to feel what the points in our body are doing. When we take an inventory of ourselves, does it feel like the points are smiling or does it feel like the points are frowning? And when we put this sun ring, one of the natural indicators is that we automatically want to smile. And so this is a really good way of knowing that it's working. But it really just has that soft, loving energy along with it. So we want to pour in all of the sun and clear all of the cobwebs and just empower all of our energy fields and make them feel loved. And so this is an easy, quick hitter that we can do to make sure that we're feeling good and happy and filled. So Jen, how did you feel when you put the sun ring in between your hands?
Happy.
Smiling. Yeah. It is. It's very interesting. Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of smiling. Like I wasn't consciously thinking, but yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah, you just kind of want to smile, right? It's good, happy feeling. So that is a good way for us to understand about the sun ring. So we can put our gemstones in it, we can hold it in between our hands, and we can set intentions that way as well. We can also use this in our house and in our rooms, and the best is for them to be on a wall. So although the neutralizing ring didn't necessarily have an effect one way or the other, the sun ring is definitely better to have on the wall somewhere, just so that it's in its vertical position. Okay, so wherever that is, it doesn't necessarily matter. It can be propped up, but it is best if it's in its vertical position.
Can it be in a windowsill or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I find it's definitely a lot more empowering if it comes in through a window as well. So that's a really good thing to bring up. Yeah, absolutely. This can also be placed underneath the bed in cases of sleep issues or any types of issues with kids. They do tend to find a lot of energy changes from this. They can, on the first couple of nights, have some sleepless nights or feel that extra energy. But in a couple of days, they generally feel like they're a lot more safe at night. So any kids that are dealing with nightmares as well, this is a good tool to use for them.